for entertainment purposes only. And if you want true legal advice, contact your own lawyer.
Look, we were talking about this with the Colorado thing, and we were talking about how people might be treated disparately, differences in how they are treated. And there was a case that came up, and Denise and I were talking about this, about a video gamer, and how the punishment to two people that were involved in the same incident were punished very differently. They have different ethnicities, but there may be reasons beyond that as to why they were punished differently. And this deals with an occasion, an act called swatting. And here's what swatting is. It is where two people are playing a game online, and let's say one person, and they're in different locations. You know, I'm playing here in my house in California, I'm playing against some guy in New York, but we're still playing Call of Duty or something. And let's say I was doing really good. Swatting would be where the person I was playing against, either him or herself, or somebody else acting at his request, calls the police department because they know my address and claims that some sort of illegal activity, and they have to describe it bad enough that it would require the SWAT team to come out. Usually that's like kidnap or killing or something. They call that and they say, go to this address, which happens to be my address because this has happened. And then the SWAT team shows up, and the whole idea behind it from everybody else playing against me would be to get me to turn my Xbox off so that they can go ahead and play and not get their butt kicked anymore.
Yeah, that's swatting in the context of gaming. There's also swatting. People have done that to stars just to get the police out to the celebrity's house to, gain notoriety and all of this
form of harassment. Just like ordering 55 pizzas is a scaled down, non-lethal version of swatting. So ordering 55 pizzas and having them sent to somebody else's address, that kind of stuff, right?
It is, except for it involves lethal force because it's police
I'm
response.
saying swatting is much more lethal, but I'm saying it's a toned down version of harassment remotely, I guess is the point. Yeah.
So the reason we're talking about this is because there was a case where this one kid in Ohio, and he was 19. He's 19 now. At the time of the incident, he was 2 weeks past his 18th birthday, so had just turned 18. He was playing against another kid, and he, the 19-year-old, wanted to swat the guy that he was playing against. And so he contacted a third party who was a guy in L.A. His name was Burris. And Burris had a reputation for swatting, had done it several times, had this reputation. He contacted Burris and asked Burris to swat this guy in Wichita, Kansas, that the kid in Ohio was playing against. The problem was, in addition to swatting being illegal, they got the wrong address. And so the police in Wichita, thinking that there was a kidnap or some sort of hostage situation going on, went to the address of some other guy, a single father, who knew nothing about anything, wasn't even playing a game. And when the father opened the door, the cops, who were already in a heightened sense because they think they're responding to something, saw this guy, they said, make a move for his waistband, opened fire, and killed him. And this 19-year-old was sentenced this last week.
Well, he actually pled, did he not?
He pled guilty, and he was and his accomplice, I read through, the accomplice in L.A. pled as well. But the kid in Ohio got 15 months. Got 15 months prison, even though the prosecutor and the defense were jointly asking for a lower sentence. The judge sentenced him to 15 months, but the guy in L.A., the one who called the cops at the Ohio kid's request, got 20 years. 20 years prison.
Works for me.
It doesn't for me because,
Why?
Well, because the Ohio gamer was a Caucasian and the L.A. Barris is Hispanic. And it just looks like it's here we have the person who initiated the Ohio gamer and gave the wrong information to Barris on where the guy that he was gaming against lived, which is the crucial fact in this case. And then when Barris went out there or made the phone call and reported this as a shooting and a kidnapping, I don't think he should have gotten that much more time.
What's the criminal history?
That is, in looking at this, that is what I saw here. Now, we've got about a minute left. Denise's point, I think, is well taken. A lot of people looked at this because there's a difference in ethnicity. The Ohio kid was Caucasian. The guy in, I was wrong in saying kid. The guy in L.A. appeared to be Hispanic. And so different
They both
issues
played.
here.
They did a plea. Both of them pleaded guilty, and their treatment was very different.
When we come back, we'll talk about maybe why it was different, and even then, despite those differences, whether there should have been that much disparity.
The guy's dead, you know. Something's got to happen.
Well, I agree. We all agree that they should be punished.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Stay tuned. There's much more Radio Law Talk coming up right here on your favorite radio station or on RadioLawTalk.com.
for various reasons. So why
ain't we all?
Yes. So why was the sentence so different between the two? And what happened to the third person who was involved? We talked about the guy who ordered the SWAT. We talked about the guy who took the order from the SWAT and actually called the SWAT team to go in. But what about the guy that he was playing? What about the guy they wanted to originally SWAT? He got charged too.
Why? What did he do?
He got charged with conspiracy because of this. He used to live at the address where the father got killed. So when he gave the SWATers his address, he knew he was giving them a false address. And apparently he was egging them on, saying, go ahead, come on.
Try something.
By the way, when you play online, when you play on the Xbox, they record your conversations so they can tell you what is said, especially if you text it and you type it.
And even if you delete those texts, they can recover those text messages.
Absolutely. So he was charged as well. Now, he got diversion, which is if he does
who's he?
He, the guy that they originally wanted to SWAT, who said, go ahead, bring it on. That guy ended up getting diversion, which is you take a class, you keep your nose clean, you do something, case gets dismissed, it goes away.
So it's just like a deferred prosecution.
That's right. So he got that.
Keep everything clean. We're gonna make this go away.
So here's what we've got. We've got a Caucasian guy who gets diversion. We got another Caucasian 19-year-old. He gets 15 months, and then we have the person that looks Latino in L.A. who gets 20 years. So what is the disparity there? All of them facing charges in federal court, albeit different districts, all of them facing charges. What's the disparity? And the disparity is the guy in L.A. was 25, he's a little older, but he pled to 51 counts of swatting.
He was a professional swatter.
Well, then, okay. 20 years is good.
He had been doing this for years. Remember, when we were laying this out, the kid in Ohio contacted the guy in L.A. because he had a reputation for swatting, and he had done this several times, and he was a little older. I think the court takes into consideration the age of people, and look, the last thing that a court wants to do is take somebody that would not otherwise turn into a criminal and then turn them into a criminal by putting them in prison for a lengthy period of time.
And if you don't believe me, look at the recidivism rate. San Francisco just released a study on recidivism, and it will stagger you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's what happened here, and why one guy got so much more time, and these were all parts of plea deals.
Yes, and he pled and got 20 years, and it's the longest sentence of any kind for swatting.
Can you imagine, though, 51 times guys think they're running out to a life or death situation with body armor, with snipers, with potential lethal entry methods, all at 51 times.
And the person that opens the door is not expecting to see people with lethal force on them.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine, anybody thinking that swatting is funny.
Yeah, so
it's just not.
So the poor deceased man makes what police describe as a furtive movement.
Exactly.
And boom, next thing he knows, they're having his funeral. I mean, sure, 20 years seems like a lot on the one hand. On the other, not so much.
Now, in federal cases, 20 years, he's going to probably do about 85% of
Yes.
that.
Works for me.
85 to 87%. So he's going to do probably about 17, 18 years.
What do they call
the
that?
20.
In prison, is it called selling?
Yeah.
CELL. I mean, if you get the guards to run to another
Oh, I was
cell.
like,
yes,
what are you
yes.
talking about now?
I got selled.
Yes, exactly.
Now, the family of the deceased in Wichita has filed a lawsuit against the police department in the city, claiming that the officer overreacted in opening fire as he did in that case, and probably rightly so.
But he's told there was a shooting and a kidnapping.
Right. How can that be an
I'm
overreaction?
sorry. Yeah.
Well, it depends on. It's very case specific, and I think it's going to depend on, was there video of the incident? Sometimes they have body cams. Is he the only guy that fired? Was he far away? How come the other SWAT team didn't fire on the guy? Did he overreact? It's going to be very case specific as to what happened. The long and short of it, though, is this should not have happened as a result of a video game.
A prank.
A prank.
Right.
And it just got way out of hand. And a man is dead as a result.
Hopefully the trend recedes.
So since we've been talking a lot about death today, why don't we cover Kevin Spacey?
Yes. Newsflash.
Go to the website, radiolawtalk.com. That's radiolawtalk.com.